Yo! Back at it again. You already know it's OPEX. You're checked in right now to the mind of OPEX. I want to dive into something. So there's an idea out there that's been widely understood for many years regarding religion. And I want to talk about a little bit of Luciferians, Satan worshippers, things like that. So if you're not ready for this, definitely turn it off now, because we're diving into it. So in the Bible, God created the heavens and the earth. You can look this up right in the first chapter of Genesis. Start reading through this. God created the heavens and the earth. Then he finally creates animals, man, etc., right? And then finally gets Eve out of Adam's rib and all that stuff. So you read through all this stuff. God creates everything. He says it's good. And then all of a sudden, they have basically slaves. He has slavery on earth because these people are reduced to no free will. They have none. And then all of a sudden, Satan comes along. And Satan, Lucifer, whoever, comes along and says, hey, eat this apple. But at first, Adam was like, well, God doesn't want us to, and we obey him. So you can't give us this choice because we have to obey him. He's the one who created us, right? And this snake is just going to be like a little tempting to say that, hey, eat this and you'll get all this type of knowledge. Eve ends up doing it, right? They eat the fruit, they realize they're naked, they have all types of free will and understanding of life. Now, instead of God killing them for disobeying him, he didn't do anything. He just kind of was like, well, it is what it is, just obey me from here on out. You guys got free will now. Weird story, right? But there's a reason I want to dive into that story. Because Satan gave humanity free will. Now, why would Satan do this? Just to piss off God? Like God's little brother, just being a little, I don't know, just devious? I don't know. Why would he do it? But that's how the story goes. And so, when Lucifer, Satan, tricks Adam and Eve into doing this, all of a sudden now they're able to see that they're naked, they have pleasures, joys, happiness, sadness, all of these other mixed feelings that they didn't have before, according to the Bible. So a lot of people thought, wow, Satan is actually the good guy. He might not be the creator, but he actually wanted us to be free. So we have this humane instinct in us to be free, right? And if it was Lucifer trying to make us free, well, what's the issue here? The issue is that God didn't want us to be free. God wanted us to be slaves, basically little robot slaves, like animals. He wanted us like animals to do his bidding and to be like him, but not be as smart as him or be able to be as conscious as him or whatever, right? He didn't want a threat of people doing whatever they want for whatever reason, right? Now, we can't argue this because this is just what's written in the Bible, right? Whether this is true or false, that's not what we're talking about here. So, there's a group thousands of years ago, like back before even Judaism, that when they used to say these kinds of stories in the Middle East, well, there used to be an understanding that there's a pack that would worship Satan, Lucifer, because of the ability of free will. So, some people actually enjoyed this ideology of freedom. Now, of course, you know me, I'm a freedom fighter. So, in some sort of context, you can label me as a Luciferian Illuminati member, right? Because I believe in freedom. I believe that you should be able to do what you want to do. Now, this has changed over the years. Like even somewhat modern day, the Illuminati. Yeah, I figured one day I'll fucking talk about this stupid shit. The Illuminati. Well, what's the Illuminati stand for? What does it mean? Those who carry the light. Now, why is the light so important? Well, what's Lucifer? The morning star. He's the bearer of light, Lucifer. And in the Bible, after the Old Testament, the New Testament comes around, and Jesus says that, or he's labeled also as the morning star. So they actually gave them both the same type of nickname, Lucifer and Jesus. Now, I haven't done much study on this in probably 6-7 years when I got out of Christianity. Not because of this, but I used to do all these kinds of studies, and it would always have me double down on my faith and stuff like that. But if you put these things into context, you realize that a lot of people think they're worshiping Jesus and God. But then you realize that, wow, the God in the past is separate from the God now. What changed? Well, like I said, a lot of things change during time. Different revisions, versions of the Bible. Give me a second. I'm 80,000 pounds going up a mountain, making sure I can make that lane switch safely. So, there's tons of different variations that have changed over time. So, the Illuminati, those who carry the light, they were basically Satan worshippers. Yes, the founding fathers were Satan worshippers, at least Luciferian in many different contexts. So they wanted to carry the light of Lucifer. And the Freemasons, a lot of secret societies also were very similar to the Illuminati in terms of being a secret society, Luciferian, always wanting more knowledge and more control. Because you can do what you want when you're free. And so the whole point of moving to America was freedom. Freedom based back to Luciferian concepts. Now, whether they actually believed in Lucifer or Satan, you know, when they're worshiping the owl or whatever, right? You know, the eye of Eris? The eye of what? I don't remember. But when they're worshiping these statues and things, you got to understand that's a representation. So I do want to make a video specifically on secret societies. I'm going to get there. But, and I know I promised this like a year ago, I just don't want my subscribers to think, I don't think you guys are ready for it. I'll just put it like that. So that's why I'm still at 101 level here. So I'm making it as simple and plain as possible when I'm chatting this stuff up to you guys, because I want you guys to at least throw this around in your head before I go that next step further. But anyways, going back to Illuminati and Freemasons, because they had this new free world called America, or the United States of America, or even Canada or Mexico. They were able to infiltrate that land, take it over, and create freedom, right? Really, relatively no laws, you know, at least until like 1776, before the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Before then, there wasn't really many laws. Now, if you know anything about the Constitution, this is law, right? In the United States of America, this was the original document of law. This isn't explaining that you always had these rights. If you had these rights, they wouldn't have to give you the privilege of having them, right? We've talked about this many times in the past. It's a privilege, not a right. So they gave you these privileges through law, which is very similar to religious law, except, you know, the 10 Commandments. Originally, I think there was, 10 amendments originally? Something simply confusing here. Something very similar. Anyways, so as a gift from the French Freemasons to the Illuminati / Freemasons in America, they gave them the Statue of Liberty. Again, let's go back to Illuminati. What does the Illuminati mean? Ones who carry the light. So what's the Statue of Liberty? Come on. Carrying that light that torch. So it's Satan / Lucifer carrying that torch. That's what that statue is. Now, just because you were told it's the Statue of Liberty, well, what's liberty? Freedom. Is any of this making sense to you? Now, of course, I've dove deep into secret societies for 6, 7, 8 years now. Yeah, about 7 years. So I had a hard-on for this topic for years. I just want to know more and have more knowledge. So,
I-71 north toward Cleveland.
When you're seeing things like the Statue of Liberty, well, you think it's a girl? Where's the tits? No? No, it's actually got curly hair, the 5-pointed star. Whatever happened to the morning star? Well, when the sun rises from the east, right over New York City, the morning star, 5-pointed star, the ones who carry the light, the torch, come on. All this stuff is simply obvious. Okay? So, these variations have changed, whether they actually believe in Lucifer or just like the principles. Now, religion has changed, and I wanted to make a video on mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms specifically, because I wanted to talk about deeper things. But I'm just going to give you an aspect, just in case I still want to make that video, that researchers have found out from the original scrolls, from the original Arabic languages. Come on, move over, dude. I hate when people go slow. Come on, move over. The original Arabic languages basically explain that everyone's tripping, that there is no God, that there is no tree or fruit of life. This was actually psilocybin mushrooms, which there's tons of microbial matter all in the fucking dirt. Go anywhere other than, I think even under Antarctica, they found microbial life, which is fungi, right? They're everywhere. It rains a little bit too much, fungus come up. And what do people eat? They ate, or at least wanted to survive, so they ate mushrooms. And this could also explain the drastic amount of, like doubling in brain size in such a short time, and all that stuff, you know, doubling our consciousness very quickly, and then tripling it, and becoming smarter, expanding our mind, able to think outside the box, etc. This could have been the freedom from that plant, from the apple tree. So if you actually look back to the original language of that, mushrooms may have a lot to do with it. You know, the burning bush aspect, of course. Some people speculate that burning bush was actually a tree that, when inflamed, will come out with, exert some sort of DMT molecule, which is a hallucinogen. So he could have just been talking to a burning bush, thinking it was God, but it's really like like salvia or DMT or something like that. And there's tons of things. So like, who gets fucking eaten by a whale? You know, and you're down under the ocean for X amount of weeks, and you come back up. Come on, you didn't drown? Come on. No one's buying that, right? So there's a theory that when the Romans was infiltrated by Christianity, not back in Judaism, but Christianity, they had a version of the Bible that is very similar to today's version, which this was like 1800 or even closer to 1900 years ago. So the original versions of the Bible were changed for the Romans, and it's very hard to distinguish this using the old Arabic to Greek methods, the old Arabic to Roman methods. These were very tough, and it really tricked a lot of people to believe into the modern day Christianity, that there's a deity and all this other stuff. Anyways, but the original, if you look back to it, it looks to be more like hallucinations. These people had hallucinations and had spiritual experiences. Now, this is a lot of different religions, and of course I'm not here to hate on religion. I'm not trying to give you the aspect of Satanism and try to get you into it. I'm just explaining you information. So, modern day Satanists, they take that concept back from the new Christian Bible, which, like I said, back in Genesis, Satan was the one who gave you free will. And that's why a lot of, back in like the 70s, when anarchists and Satanists were around, they used to get beat up and stuff because they were similar. Anarchists back then were freedom fighters because they were Satanists, and Satan was freedom. They wanted you to have freedom. Aleister Crowley, this was 80, 90, 100 years ago. Aleister Crowley, do what thou wilt, all of that stuff, believed that he was able to conjure up beings and formulate egregores and stuff like that. Of course, I'm going to dive into all that stuff when I dive into the occult and secret societies, which I am, like I said, going to make that video. It's going to be a very long, lengthy video, and I want to get some of my facts straight because I haven't looked up on this shit in a while. But when it really boils down to it, Satanism sounds... If you were to talk to somebody off the streets who have never heard about Christianity, never heard anything about it, never seen a cross, nothing about Christianity, nothing about Satan or Lucifer, nothing. And you talk to them about the Christian version and the Satan version, well, what sounds a lot more peaceful? Well, in the Satan version, you're not going to hell, right? You're literally just being free to do what you want. So it might sound to you like a more pleasant, peaceful religion. Now, of course, obviously, thousands, millions, probably a billion people on the planet are Christians, and not nearly 1% goes off and beheads people and creates mayhem and stuff, right? But there is that aspect of telling your kids, if you don't honor thy father and thy mother, you're going to hell, or whatever, right? There's that aspect that's out there, and I don't like that. I don't like the fact that people say to another that you're going to go to hell, and I can't explain it because there's powers that, it sounds like it's mystical bullshit. Now, going back to the story, I'm not Luciferian. I'm a freedom fighter, but don't get that misconstrued by any means that I'm Luciferian or I'm satanic, because this has, like I said, changed over the years. Today's variation of that is really sick. You can look in the media, turn on a rap video or pop video, music video, and you're gonna see a lot of evil stuff. I was listening to Lil Wayne's CD just today. It's a mixtape, Dedication 6. How many times does he say 666 in that mixtape? Plenty of times. This is everywhere in the new culture. They want you to believe in Satan, just like they tricked the Romans to think that their deity changed into a better deity when they're actually just changed it to Lucifer. And people don't understand that. They don't understand that they tricked the Romans to believing this new stuff. So that's pretty much all I want to get in this video, because I don't want to go too in depth, because I went a little bit sideways for you guys. Again, I'm not religious. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm Luciferian by any means. The only, I guess, similarity is that we both believe in freedom. But nowadays, it's all about control. It's do what thou wilt, don't give a fuck about anybody else, and take, in this world, you have an upper hand if you are Satanist. Seriously, you are seriously have an upper hand if you're Satanist, if you're in secret societies. You are put into CEO positions like McDonald's or whatever, right? CEO of the Corporation of the United States, Donald Trump, Skull and Bones, or whatever you were in to be a Satanist, an active Satanist, a recognized Satanist in these secret societies. Well, what happens to you? You get promoted. You become a lot higher up in the food chain than you should have, because this is the misconception here, is that white people have some sort of privilege. No, not me. Those damn Satanists. Those are the ones that keep it in the family, they fuck their cousins, that shit. Those are the people that make it into high places of power, where they're born into power. They just need to follow suit and do it, and take over and have control. And that's the new age of the Satan. stuff. The New Age of the Illuminati, which the Illuminati progressed to become. Because if you didn't look at 1776, and that never happened, and we stayed more of a libertarian society now, it's very well possible that most people would be Luciferian in our society. But it wasn't until the Luciferians took control of that information, hid it, became secretive and occultive on this information, and hid it from everybody. So then they can have the power and control and keep it in their family to have generational wealth and be able to control the masses with laws that don't apply to them, just applies to you and me. So it goes back to a lot of my videos when I talk about modern slavery. This is a way that they have enslaved you guys, and especially Christians. They want you to be good guys, so you don't act up or be anarchists in society. You don't learn anything because you're stuck on a book that was manipulated 1900 years ago to be a complete fucking lie, a fucking hoax. And so anyways, I'm not here to bash Christians either, but I'm just explaining that you're getting the short end of the stick because you got the false religion. Well, they have a false religion too, don't get me wrong, but it's working for them, right? Your religion makes you a better person. That's great. I really appreciate that. From the Bible, to each their own. But this had to be said because, yeah, I just wanted to get it out of the way so we can go into more deeper aspects of the occult, which should be coming up either next video or relatively soon. Thanks for watching. We're probably going to get 10 unsubscribed people tonight. See you guys.